Hello guys, I know it's not paragliding video, it's my PPL training in Slovakia, but generally it's about flying. Okay, actually what you can see now, I just tried checking oil in this nice plane. This plane is a cruiser PS28 made by in Czech Republic. Engine is Rotax 912. Is it 4-cylinder like box there? Producing 100 horsepower, around 5200 RPM. Yeah, time to check the oil engine. Yeah, what was the purpose of turning the propeller? Because if you want accurate reading of your oil inside the engine, in this plane you need to turn the propeller a few times after you heard the noise burping. We say the plane is burping. So after first burping, you're just waiting a moment and you're turning one more time again. And after you heard the second burping, and after is the time checking your accurate reading of the oil what is in the plane. If you won't turn the propeller, because we're always doing before the cold start when the plane was in the hangar a long time, you need turn a few times the propeller, and after you got the accurate reading. If not, you will just check the oil, you will see it's low, and you will put oil in, and after when you will start your plane, your oil will rise and can destroy your plane. So that's why we're checking the oil like that. I like that plane, it's nice, small, tiny, and the colors are amazing, white and gold, and yeah, it's quite light. This one was my first solo flight early morning, and that's why I just pulled the plane out, and now I try and close the heavy hangar's door. I look so miserable, maybe because I just woke up. It was quite early morning, it was I think 7 o'clock. Yeah, seatbelts are on, put my headset on and be ready starting the plane. Many companies using this plane for airline training in America. It's a very favorite plane for them. It's very nice glass cockpit from Garmin. I like flying that plane. And before starting the engine, master switch on, battery on, generator on, lights on, and stroboscope light as well. Output power and choke on. Ignition key, left magnet, right magnet, both, and check around the plane if is everything free, propeller free. Yeah, now we can start the engine. Now turn on avionics, radios, all displays, navigation. Check controls if they are free of the movement. Checking the altimeter, now transponder, and turning on radio. That Garmin navigation is just amazing. You can see everything, the terrain, airports, and your traffic around. Check the circuits if is everything okay. Reporting now, I will be taxiing to runway on holding point of runway 25. The small airport is in Slovakia, name is Partizanské. Runway is grass, 25 and 07. The length is 750 meters, it's enough for landing this plane or any small planes. Approaching holding point 25, last check. Turn on fuel pump, flaps at 12 in this plane, before the takeoff is setting 12, and report are going on the runway. Check is everything clear. Yeah, from this plane is nice view because the wings are on the bottom, so you can actually see everything what's going on around. So lining in 25. Yeah, before takeoff I checking everything. It's my first solo flight, so I'm making sure everything is alright. Yeah, now add power on and focus for takeoff. I'm looking for 55 knots. When I will be around 55, I will just slowly bringing plane and try fly. Now I'm flying just low and still waiting for now for 60 knots. It will be 60, I'll just carry on with climbing. Yeah, flaps up. It's like 60-65 knots is best for climbing in this plane, and I will just climb straight up. Now I'm playing with the trimmers. I'm trimming the plane. Everything is electronic, that's nice. You're just pressing the buttons and you trim your plane. Yep, looking good. My friend asked me if I will take picture of his house, because when I was always taking off and turning to the right when he was doing your pattern, he was doing the right circles, I was always flying over his house, so that's why I've got just phone and trying to fly and making a picture of that place. Now I'm flying over my city, name is Topolchany, there when I grow up, so I just try and make a picture of my house. My mom with my sister, they was on balcony and they was trying waving me, but I was quite high because you need to fly like 1,000 feet over the city, so... It's a small city, around 35,000 people living in. I was so happy in that plane. Nice weather, nice sunny day, and I'm flying over my city. It's like few years ago I won about thinking about that I will be flying one day about my city. Now I'm flying over the edge of the city and practicing. It's like 90 degrees turns and the other way as well. But always when you're doing 90 degrees turns or very deep turns, always checking your airspeed, because when you're turning that deep, you're losing your speed and you can stall the plane very easily. So always make sure you're checking your speed, and when you're turning that deep, you always putting power on. Now I'm approaching my city, so I'm quite low now, full power, and just start climbing up again because we can't fly low. Full power, go up. Now I'm around over the airport around 6,000 feet, and now I will be practicing the stalls. It's important to master your stalls and know when is the stall point. Now I'm doing stall turn, but it's not perfect stall turn. I was climbing around like 25-30 degrees up, and after when you're on the top and you take power down, you're just losing your power before you just stall a plane. I kick the right pedal, full pedal to the right like you can see now, and stalling the plane around the turn. One more stall turn, so bring the plane up by 20, 30, 35, 40 degrees, power off, kick right pedal and stall plane. Yeah, it's quite nice, deep stall. And leveling off again. It's like doing wingovers with the paragliding wing, but we're doing with the plane, so it's quite strange but nice. We'll do just basic stall, like with the instructor he showed me, just waiting for the stall the plane. Yeah, just nearly there, and now the plane is on the stall and I'm going down, actually showing now a bit more power, take the speed and fly again. I think everyone was dreaming how will be without no gravity, or try without no gravity. You can actually do in the plane, like as you can see, no gravity in the moment. It's just small tiny moment, but it's quite fun. It's everything flying. You can experience this one just in the plane. I tried like in the paragliding when you're doing big wingovers, it's like pretty much the same feeling, but you need to be in closed cockpit, and after you've got the sensation. I was flying over the airport in the safe zone. I checked on the radio, is anyone flying around me, so nobody was flying around me, that's why I just playing with the plane. I was over 7,000 feet and I was checking where is my landing zone, if something will happen with the engine, because this one is just basic carburetor, and I don't want like override the carburetor with 0G, because when the fuel don't go in your engine, the engine is not running and after you need to land. But so that's why you need to be careful when you're playing with no gravity, and probably make sure you've got like aerobatic plane. Okay, now it's fun over, and make focusing for the landing approach. Yeah, and before touchdown, so now I'm setting from 12 flaps to full. Trim the plane. It's quite a difficult see, but it's just a runway in front of me, 2.5 grassy runway, and on the right corner is a spa, so when you finish on the airport you can just actually go for a swim. And on my final, In windy days, that's the reason for the left corner making quite a rotor, so it's quite challenging landing on this strip of the grass. But yeah, just power off, and now flare before the touchdown. And now nice touchdown. Boom. Yeah, it's a bit bumpy. It's grass, is what you're expecting, but it's good, still nice. Flaps up, braking, and trimming the plane on the normal, and pump off, landing lights off. So nobody was flying behind me, so now I can do backtracking. You're just taxiing back on the runway 25. You can do it backtracking on the normal airports if you got the permission, and especially the small airport wasn't that busy, especially this morning, so I was just doing the backtracking. I just told them I'm doing the backtracking. My instructor is on that Cessna 150 and he telling me by radio where I have to park, so that's why I park in front of the hangar. They just went for short fly because that plane was on the after maintenance, so they were doing the check flight. So that's why I need to just park over here and just wait for them when they come back and check my flying time on Garmin and turning everything off. Transponder off, radio off, landing light off, stroboscope off, navigation light off, fuel pump off, avionics, AMC, and now turn the engine off, batteries and main generator off, and the displays they will turn off after 10 or 15 seconds automatically. Now I'm putting safety fin back. That red handle is main parachute. It's like on paragliding, you've got reserve parachute, and this plane got own reserve parachute. So when something happens in the air with your engine or something, and you have to land on the forest or in the city, so you don't want to land with the full speed because anyway, pretty much you will die. So that's why you just pull that handle, and your parachute will deploy, and you will land nice and safe. Yeah, this one is next morning flying over the Nitra. It's nice, big city next to the city of Topolchany is 25 miles or 20 miles. And yeah, I was just doing the turning points. Yeah, I was doing the cross country, so that's why I just putting time, what time I arrive over this turning point over the Nitra. And now I'm setting new course for, I think it was a Nowe Zamki. Yeah, I using the Garmin GPS, but I always trying using my own map and old navigation, just doing everything like old style. It's better to learn the old style with something happened with the main stuff, so you always know how to navigate by map. That's important, navigate by map. And just small wing overs over the Nitra. The big concrete stuff in front of my plane is a Range Rover and Jaguar. They will be building these cars in Slovakia. If you saw my video, best paragliding moments I've got on my channel, you can pretty much recognize that place that is aboard Nitra, and I was flying my paragliding from that hill. I was jumping there, and I was flying with the sailplanes. Hey! I am still on same flight. That is just beautiful views, early morning, and you can see these clouds. Wow, that is just incredible. You are free. That's why I like flying. Just look, you are like in heaven. Is it beautiful? Is it? Is it nice? Nice puffy clouds, they're like sheep. Now I'm on the descent to Prievidza, and I checked with the radio is anyone flying around me, and I saw nice clouds in front of me, and I was just quite surprised how big and thick it was. When you're flying on private pilots, you can't fly through the clouds, so make sure you don't flying, because you never know who is flying next to you, and if someone flying instrument rating and they fly in the clouds, so they can hit you. So always, it's like with the paragliding, it's the same rules. You need to see and avoid people, so that's why I don't fly in the clouds. And when I'm talking about paragliding, when I was flying next day, I can see that guy flying next to me from the distance, and it's quite awesome to see them flying from the plane, and it's quite difficult actually see them from the distance. As you are focusing on your navigation and you just handling the plane and you just looking outside like every few seconds, it's quite difficult to see. I realize how fragile we are when we flying paragliders. You have to fly in plane by yourself, and after you realize, same like me, it's quite difficult to see us, and you are just like flying birds. Cruising speed 75 knots, 5,700 feet over the sea level. Transponder set to 7000, radio, main GPS, Garmin, beautiful display, and this one you can see your engine, what's going on, temperature, and all sort of information stuff. Restrict area on the right corner was atom energy, and actually when you're looking further on you can see the inversion. Yeah, when I was cruising that high, I set my radio on the radar, so I was listening the airliner when I was talking and I was flying. It was quite nice, just cruising on that high and listening them. As a part of my training, I was flying with my instructor to international airport, and when we was flying there, we got some spell of rain, and it was quite strange and funny looking on the raindrops when you don't have any wipers. Now check the fuel and changing from the left to the right. That's meaning I sucking fuel from the now right wing. As a part of your training, you need to land on the international airport. In front of us is Bratislava LZEB airport, and I landing on the runway 31. Length is 2,900 meters. I was using my ILS approach in a PPL license. When you're doing, they don't teach you how to using ILS approach, but I learned from flight simulator and stuff like that, so that's why I was just trying if I can landing by ILS. And maybe you can see on the display in front of me, you've got small dots on the left corner, and on the horizon there are dots, and they're showing you your flight path if you are on your flight path, or on the left on the runway you can see the lights if you are on the glide slope. And it's quite very useful information to learn, because just helping you aiming for the runway from the long distance, and you always aiming for the middle, and it's very simple and easy to use when you know how to. And I was surprised it was working. And now we're doing the touchdown on the main runway 31. For first time I was landing on the concrete or tarmac runway, so I was doing very gentle as I can. And yeah, I was showing, because the Ryanair is taking off. You can actually see now in front of you, it's taking off from the runway 04. We get the instruction turning first left on Foxtrot taxiway. Now I will put the time of the landing. We're just crossing the zero marks on the taxiway, that is top or holding point of the runway 31, and now I check left if it's not traffic, and we can proceed to runway 04. And as you can see on the Garmin navigation is automatically turned to taxiways. We are free to cross holding point of runway 04, and now we've got the permission doing the backtracking of the runway 04. Now we're just turning left there, and we will doing the backtracking because nobody was flying in the air, because Bratislava is not that busy airport. There we are on the end or the beginning of the runway. Now we're doing the fully turn 180 degrees and be ready for the takeoff. Prepare for the takeoff. Full power applied, and we're going for takeoff. I remember a few years ago when I was still in Slovakia, and one DHL plane landed emergency on the runway 31 with no front wheel, so they were scraping the runway, and now you can see that plane is still there on the left corner now, but they take the marks and everything down, and they're using the plane for turning purposes like fires or evacuation and stuff like that. Now we got the permission to see the airport from the top, and we can see the whole line, so that's why we got the permission turning around the airport and making some selfie pictures. Capital city of Slovakia, Bratislava, and we taking just small selfie pictures by my instructor. You can see the whole airport. Yeah, that's the Bratislava. Selfies here. And this one is the main airport, 2 runways. It's not that busy, that's a shame. It's quite nice, big airport, and just few flights a day. I'm glad I've got my instructor. His name is Marian, and he's crop flyer. He's amazing pilot and amazing guy. I'm glad I was under his wings. Hope you watched that video, Marian. I would like to say big thank you very much. Now we're just setting course for leaving the airport, because if you want to leave the airport, you can't just leave when you want. You need to go for the exit point. So that's why we're just heading for the exit point and just setting our navigation and everything for that exit point. And the last view and scenery of the Bratislava. Now back to solo flight. This one is my landing approach for the Partizanske. That's a small city, Partizanske, when I was flying from. Maybe you can see the grassy strip in front of me. Now I'm setting flaps 12 degrees, just slowing the plane down. Yeah, check the flap if they are on. You can actually now see. Yeah, flaps are on, my maps is there. Now you can see approach. And yeah, this one will be between the approach because my nose is pointing slightly to the right. You can see actually it's quite windy. Always when it was flying that low and was windy, we've got bump, kick from the wind, and you was always expecting some small rotor. But when it was lower over the airport or over the runway, it was pretty much smooth. But now I trying kicking the left pedal and trying fly straight and doing the nice landing, very soft hopefully. Is now going for flare, touchdown, and applying the brakes, turning landing lights off and fuel pump, flaps up. Then now I will assign my landing time. Yeah, just right now. It was just me landing on the airport, so nobody was behind me, so I've got time doing my paperwork just before the landing. And now I will check the total time, total flying time. Yeah, put everything down. Now back to hangar, just taxi to the back. Yeah, there we are. Back to the hangar. On the right corner you can see the very old plane Antonov. And my instructor just doing the marshal, and yes, proper marshalling, showing me where I have to go and stop the plane. And after we were just putting in the hangar. It's the same, turning radio off, transporter off, landing dikes, Chopok light, fuel pump, MMC, master switch or generator, and now turn engine off, check the fuel if it's on the right way, and now turn the engine off, put everything back, and master switch off, and now everything will turn off in 10 or 15 seconds.
Okay.
That's the safety pin. After when you're landing, we always put in there and try secure the handle, because when someone just sitting in the plane or some kid making the picture, they can just pull the handle and the parachute will just shoot up, and yeah, you don't want to start the plane, because when you shoot the parachute out, it will rip the side of the plane, and yeah, pretty much you just destroy the plane. As you can see on the back, that it's just for luggage, there are not any spare seats. This plane is just for 2 persons, it's 2-seater plane, and it's quite a shame because will be pretty much space for 4 people, or maybe they will do new version or something. But yeah, I like that plane, it's very nice to fly. That's how you should planning your route, by pen and paper. Now in the new times, you've got like iPads, application like Garmin Pilot. I just recently checked this one and it's quite nice. You're planning everything just by touching your fingers and everything calculating for you, distances, courses and headings, and actually these apps, they can just do correction with the wind and stuff like that, and it's quite also amazing. But you need still learn by old times and this help you. And now my instructor just gave me a book. I need sign of my last flight. Yeah, it's good when someone helping you out. Cessna 150, very nice small plane. We was preparing plane and we was doing my probably the most amazing flight over the Slovakia. We was flying through our mountains, so that we was preparing plane, cleaning the window, and the other guy, he's owner of the school when I was learning from, and he was like explaining me what I need to do and how you're checking the fuel and everything. Time to climb over the wings and open the fuel tank and put the fuel in. Marian gave me the fuel tank or fuel pistol, and we were putting 15 liters one side and 15 the other side, so together will be 30 liters and should be enough for flying to our Slovakian mountains, and the name is High Tatras, so should be just enough. Just make sure I close this properly because we don't want any fuel leaks.
Dobré ráno. Potom ich majú strašne veľa. Tam dokonca možno nerozlišiť medzi 152 a 150. Asi nie. Neviem, uvidíme. Áno, vie v Riti. Čo? Vie v Riti. Nie, nemá ani vlak. 9990. Spraviť, ale to nenalieta do 50. Ale tak 20 hodín je dosť.
When I first time saw the plane on the ground, and I thought it will be like very difficult and heavy. They will be like heavy push them, but it's quite simple and easy. You just drag the plane and you're pushing like nothing happening. I like that seat. It looks like from American movies, the very, very old Chevrolet cars is like nice brown and white. It's like luxury. Look at that. It's beautiful plane. Beautiful interior. Nice. Now turn the key from 0 to both, and the small left one, that is small pump, because this plane missing the fuel pump, like the electronic fuel pump, so you're doing manually. You're just doing 1 or 2 pumps. After you can feel the pressure, and after you just secure, turn on magnetos or the main generator, and lights, check if it's anyone around, put a bit power, just maybe a few inches, and check is everything ready for starting the plane. And if it is, I will start the plane now. Now I can turn on avionics and turn everything on, radios and small GPS over there as well, and I just set the power for normal engine running and check oil pressure, oil temperature and everything. So now I'm ready. I taxiing to holding point of runway 25, and it's very easy taxi Cessna because when you're turning by pedals, you've got like steering on the front of the leg. When I was flying the cruiser don't have any steering on the front of the leg, so you was pretty much braking the plane left and right, so that's why it was steering. And now you can see it's quite difficult to see if any plane is approaching because the wings are on the top, so your view is a bit difficult. So that's why when you're turning to a runway you need to turn slightly out and check for the traffic. And now we are ready for takeoff, and we'll take off. Is it very old lady, but flying nice and steady. You got very nice feedback from that plane. Look at bored faces, but no, this one was the most epic flying over the Slovakia, and I just checking where we are. My maps always on my knee, and you can see there's getting a bit more and more mountains around. But it's a bit dangerous because when your engine will fail, it's quite difficult to find a landing option. But for the views, I like this plane for the views because the wings are on the top, so you can see everything what's going on below. So that was just spectacular, the views. And this city is Martin. In that point I was flying over my grandma's house, and you can see the front small city. That's the city name of is Ružomberok, and I born there, and you can see the nice mountain around. So I'm missing that place because the nice views and mountains. And my instructor just trying taking picture of some small place when he was staying, and there the big lake is named Liptovská, and you can see on the background the big mountains and snowy tops that are high Tatras, that our highest mountains in Slovakia. And actually we won't fly there because the aerospace is a bit difficult over there, but we will fly to the right. Now as you can see, that is a low Tatras. They are slightly lower, but the views are amazing there as well, and many paragliding pilots like these mountains. And maybe you can see over the corner left down is small airport, but they was using for the cropping in the fields, so now you can use the airport as emergency. And this one is the name Chopok. It's the very favorite place for paragliding, and especially on the winter time for snowboarding and skiing. For skiing. But in summer or winter time, there are many paragliding pilots flying from that hill, and that is just amazing. And one day I would like fly from there as well, but when I was in Slovakia I never got the time to go there. You can do very nice cross-country flying from this hill, and my instructor just taking some nice pictures. And yeah, I just let him fly that plane because he need aiming for the nice spot. So yeah, I was just having fun with my GoPro and see the nice view around. And we was quite lucky because we went morning and wasn't any thermals. As you can see, the sky is very clear, so it was very nice and smooth ride. Because my instructor told me when he was there a few times, like making picture and flying this place, it was always like firming and cloudy, and the flying wasn't pleasant because there was like always into football and air and it was jumping. So he said we was so lucky we got just nice and smooth ride over there, and it was brilliant. And I like views from that plane. It's like driving a car. Typical Cessna cockpit, very nice old cockpit, and the flying in this plane is brilliant. It's nice and soft, right? And the views, look at that. You actually don't flying plane, you driving your car car in the air. And yeah, what I like about that plane, you can open the window and you feel like you driving, not flying. You're driving a lorry. You just put your arm out of the window and you are there having fun. Is it nice? I love it. In the winter oh sorry, in the summer times when it's like 35 degrees in Slovakia, you're just cruising quiet like 3,000 feet and you open the window, it's just perfect, the feeling. I find this Cessna is much easier to land like the Cruiser, because when it was on the landing approach, the Cessna was feeling much like heavier and much confident in the air for the landing, so wasn't that dancing a lot. It was pretty much like nice, steady, and the landings was pretty much soft as well. When I was always taxiing back or on the runway or back, I was always need open the window or door because it was bloody hot, like 35 degrees. And when you are in this small plane, pretty much with not like air condition, nothing. So when you moving through the air much faster, after you can feel the air like cooler air. That was not normal, always flying with door open or fully windows open, and after when it was just going for takeoff, you just close everything and you're taking off and coming back for parking nice lovely Cessna. I was always checking the shadows from my wing, like how far I am from the obstacles, because it's quite difficult to judge the distance if I will hit something or no. And first you just turn everything off, and when you turning off the engine, you don't turning key off, but you just taking the mixture, like you can see the red handle, you just stop, you kill the fuel coming into the engine, so you just like pull backwards and the engine stall because it's not fuel going in. What I like about these small airports, you can do different stuffs, not just flying, but you can helping people taking off, and you can see different people. It's same like with the paragliding club. You always meeting nice people, and they won't do same thing just flying. They got the same passion, so that was the brilliant, just helping out and see their stories and what they're doing and stuff like that. So yeah, that was my first time helping the sailplanes taking off, and hopefully you like that video and you like my commentary, and hopefully I will be flying soon from Duncansville. So thank you for watching, and we will see if I will become an airline pilot. That's what I'm aiming for. Hopefully I will be there soon. So thank you guys, and see you soon on the next video. Bye bye.